In this session, I swatched 6 colors of Diamine fountain pen ink. Being a newbie to the world of fountain pens and its inks, I don't have all the deets. Most of what I know has come from watching YouTube videos and reading some blog posts, so this will likely be of little informational value to experienced ink people. But to those who are unfamiliar and curious, you can join me as I dip my toes into this medium. And if you'd like to learn more, there will be links in the description to sources that I found helpful. I'm inclined to pronounce the name as Diamine, but I've mostly heard it pronounced Diamine, and that includes from online retailers such as Jet Pens and Goulet Pens, so I'm going with that. Also, I apologize for the occasional lapse in focus. Yeah, wrong camera setting. Although I'm pretty chill about a lot of things, I was this close to throwing my breakfast against the wall, which sounds pretty dramatic until you find out my breakfast was an individually wrapped Great Value brand cream-filled cupcake. You know, the Hostess knockoff, which, in my imagination at least, makes for a less than satisfying rage release. So now that I've fallen behind and we're already several swatches in, I'll leave my observations on these colors until the close-up glamour shots, because I want to explain my process here. I don't currently have any paper intended for fountain pen ink, so what I used was a sheet of Bristol with a vellum surface. Not ideal for this purpose, but I think the swatches showed well anyway. In retrospect, I should have used a sheet of hot-pressed watercolor paper, perhaps. And that's because I intend to try these inks in drawing and painting applications. So I used a brush, specifically a number 8 round Princeton Neptune, and gradated the colors with water to see how they might look as washes. For the writing examples, I first used a glass dip pen, then the number 4 nib that came in my Fiti calligraphy pen set. There will be a separate video where I try out that set with a jar of walnut ink. If you've seen the previous pen and ink haul video, you're probably wondering, are things out of order? Yes, they are. Remember when I said this was all kind of new to me? Well, I experienced some frustration, which admittedly is mostly due to my inexperience. So I may need to record some additional footage to give the Fiti calligraphy pen set a fair representation. Which means, although it was the first item shown in the haul, when it comes to the demonstration videos, it may end up being the last one uploaded. Since, like many fountain pen inks, these are not waterproof, I decided to include a simple lifting test. All I did was shake some water droplets onto each swatch and applied a tissue to show how much color came off. It's sort of a cool effect, and I may try creating some background designs using that technique. As for lightfastness, and this is of concern for anyone wanting to use these inks for arting purposes, my understanding is that most fountain pen inks are dye-based, as these are, and as such are not known for being light-fast. A high priority is placed on fluidity and ease of flow in conjunction with the pen's temperamental inner workings. I expect much fountain pen work is done in journals and on things that get filed away in deep, dark places. Hopefully damp-free. There are exceptions. Diatramentis has a line of document inks that are both waterproof and light-fast, though in a limited range of colors. And I have heard that many Noodler's inks exhibit less change than a lot of other brands. Generally speaking, black and dark blue inks are less susceptible to fading. My conclusion is that these will likely fade if on display, so they have limited use in art. And now you may be wondering, well, what's the point then? The point, I guess, is that a lot of artwork is not displayed. Many times they're kept inside of sketchbooks and journals. Some artists prefer to digitize their works and store away the originals. Most of my own pieces are kept in portfolio-type binders. Then there is ephemeral art. For example, this holiday season, I intend to make ink drawing gift tags. Although inks with shimmer and sheen effects seem to be popular these days, there's much to be said for the non-fancy pants varieties. For the most part, the colors in this set are pretty basic. That said, there's an aspect in some inks that's referred to as shading, which gives your writing visual interest through random value variations. I noticed it in the writing sample of ancient copper, in particular. I understand that shading inks can be better shown through paper and nib choices, so experimentation is in order. All in all, I'm delighted with each ink in this set, and that surprised me since I specifically chose it for only 2 of the colors. So, looking at these inks, I would expect something called jet black to be a basic black, but you can see there's a little more going on since there is a bluish, or actually a purplish, tinge. Being a watercolorist, my first reaction to seeing the Earl Grey swatch was, hey, it's Moonglow in ink form. When I saw the color band on the bottle, I thought Twilight was going to be a regular blue and nothing special. But it is gorgeous, which I could say about each of these colors, actually. This one makes me think of my favorite shades of blue watercolors, Prussian, indigo, and indanthrone. Green-black is the sort of shade I think of as forest or hunter green. I was pleased to see that this sepia was not 2 oranges, because the color band on the label was pretty darned orange. My swatch looks somewhere between raw and burnt sienna, which still isn't what I think of as sepia, but close enough. I would describe ancient copper as a rusty vermilion. Now, vermilions are often too bright for my taste, but this has enough rust that it doesn't burn my eyes. And looking at it in my hands now makes me realize that my footage may be a tad off in color adjustment. So imagine the colors toned down by a half notch. Regardless, in my opinion, ancient copper is the star of this set. I'm happy to share my thoughts on this set of 6 Diamine fountain pen inks. It wasn't easy choosing one for my first fountain pen. Well, it was easier after producer Mike told me he'd ordered some more pens that are even cheaper than my Pen BBS 494. I'm thrilled, because while I plan to do some arting with them, I've discovered that I love writing with a fountain pen. Who knew, right? Until next time, stay artsy, my friends.